What's good, my people? Hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to EMGM Sports. I'm your boy Enzo, and please, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll really appreciate it, guys and girls. But anyways, let's get into it. On the 21st of September, Daniel Dubois takes on Anthony Joshua, defending his IBF World Heavyweight title, and at Wembley. The fight is at Wembley Stadium, 90,000, British clash. It's going to be a crazy fight. I'm really looking forward to this fight. But today, I really just want to focus on Daniel Dubois. I've got another video that's going to come out. I'm going to be looking into AJ and what he's had to overcome. But for today is all about Daniel Dubois and what he's achieved, in the last few years. Look, I think a lot of people are not giving Daniel Dubois credit. And obviously, Daniel Dubois, he's the underdog in this fight. A lot of people, obviously, the bookmakers and everything like that, they've got Anthony Joshua as the favorite. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't say heavy favorite, but Anthony Joshua is definitely the outright favorite in this fight. And it's understandable as well, because obviously Anthony Joshua, two-time heavyweight champion of the world, do you know what I mean? He's been in the bigger fights. He's got more experience, do you know what I mean? He's the much older, mature fighter. So I get it. I can understand why people have Anthony Joshua as the favorite. However, we should definitely not be sleeping on Daniel Dubois. And one thing I like about Daniel Dubois is, do you know what I mean, his mentality. Do you know what I mean? Being able to overcome adversity. Do you know what I mean? And we saw Daniel Dubois when he first came burst into the scene. He was knocking people out. He was brutal. Do you know what I mean? A savage, fast, quick hands, and this young raw talent. And do you know what I mean? He was destined to be a star anyway. But a couple of low performances, bad performances, kind of like pull his profile back down. Do you know what I mean? And most notably, his fight against Joe Joyce, when he took the knee, he had a broken eye socket. So obviously he couldn't continue the fight. A lot of people came out, boxing fans and some ex-pros and stuff like that. So they really came out and criticized Daniel Dubois, do you know what I mean? Calling him a quitter, saying he's a coward. A lot of things were said, he had to face a lot of criticism. He went through a lot of negativity. And do you know what I mean? To come back from that, it takes a lot of guts. Do you know what I mean? It takes a lot of mental courage. And not every fighter can do that. We've seen other fighters, when they take their first loss, they never recover. They're never the same. But Daniel Dubois, we've seen it in his last two fights against Jared Miller. We've seen it against Filip Hrgović. He did really well. Do you know what I mean? And he won both fights by stoppage. That shows courage. It shows that a fighter is learning. It shows, that he's improving fight by fight. Obviously, look, he was a bit unlucky against Alexander Usyk, where was it below the belt? Was he not? He knocked down Alexander Usyk, but the punch was deemed below the belt. So, he lost. He ended up losing that fight via knockout. He couldn't continue. So, but listen, it's Alexander Usyk. Anyone can lose against Alexander Usyk. There's no shame in that. The guy, Alexander Usyk, is an elite fighter, so that's understandable. Let's part that. But there's no denying that Daniel Dubois, in his last two fights against Jared Miller and against Filip Hrgović, he showed great determination, great courage, man. Do you know what I mean? To win those fights, especially against Baby Miller, man, and that fight, Baby Miller came in there heavy. He was massive. And his aim was to just drain Daniel Dubois. Do you know what I mean? To just get the guy tired and then try and knock out Daniel Dubois. But you know what? With Daniel Dubois in that fight, what I liked about it, he persevered. Do you know what I mean? He showed great learning. Do you know what I mean? He showed great maturity in that fight. He was letting shots go. I honestly thought down the stretch, he's gonna tire and Miller will take over and knock him out. But nah, that wasn't the plan at all. Daniel Dubois just showed just great courage for me. Do you know what I mean? And he boxed well. Do you know what I mean? And he conserved his energy. He was throwing a lot of punches, conserved his energy. He didn't fall into the trap of Baby Miller. He didn't overthrow punches where he tired himself out. He was a calculated fight. Do you know what I mean? He done some calculated moves in there, and he got the stoppage. Was in the 12th round as well, so that was crucial. Him getting that stoppage really gave him a lot of confidence. Yeah, and moving on from that against Filip Hrgovic, where again a lot of experts, a lot of the ex-pros, me myself, you know what I mean, as a boxing fan, I thought that's gonna be a tough fight. Filip Hrgovic, do you know what I mean? I thought it was gonna be a tricky, tough fight. But again, Daniel Dubois came through that. Do you know what I mean? Stopping Filip Hrgovic. Even though in the beginning of that fight, I was watching, I was like, ooh, Daniel Dubois is eating a lot of right hands. Do you know what I mean? He was eating a lot of right hands. It was a bit small. It was a bit slow at the start, a bit timid, but he did overcome that. He made the adjustments. That's one thing I like. Do you know what I mean? And him teaming up with Don Charles, his coach, like he's able to make mid-fight adjustments. And that's vital for any fighter. Like you can have a game plan, right? You can have all the game plan in the world that you want. Yeah, like Mike Tyson said, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. You know what I mean? So Daniel Dubois had a game plan, but after 2, 3 rounds, Don Charles, his trainer, realized that, you know what, this ain't working. We need to change something here. Do you know what I mean? And that's when Daniel Dubois really started going in with a jab, getting in close and letting his hands go. And Filip Hrgovic, even though he was landing the right hand, eventually the velocity, you know, the volume of punches that Daniel Dubois was throwing, he overcame Filip Hrgovic, and he wasn't able to sustain his level of performance, and and through cuts, and and by a bad eye cut on Filip Hrgovic, the ref stopped the fight, and that was all credit to Daniel Dubois because he made the adjustments. He was getting caught a lot, and he wasn't doubling his jab, so he was getting caught by the right hand. But his trainer, Don Charles, he realized that, we need to make an adjustment here. They made the adjustment. Daniel Dubois started doubling that jab and then throwing the right hand. And that's when they got to Filip Hrgovic. Do you know what I mean? So, hey, listen, well done. Congrats to Daniel Dubois. Do you know what I mean? And again, like I said in the beginning of this video, that shows a lot of courage. Yeah, it shows a lot of determination, hunger. It looks like Daniel Dubois now has overcome all the negativity. He's overcome that mental, that little mental, what can I say here? He's overcome his mental demons, that he had after the Joyce fight. Do you know what I mean? He's overcome all that. He's with a level-headed trainer now, Don Charles, who knows what he's about. He knows really how to get into the psyche of a fighter, the mental state of the fighter. And the thing about boxing, combat sport, yeah, we have to say is 90% mental. Do you know what I mean? It's 90% mental. And if you can get your mental state right, yeah, you're already you're there. You're there, because if mentally you're weak, you won't be able to really reach the highest levels, because when the tough gets going, you will give up. And Daniel Dubois it looks like he's gotten rid of all those demons. And I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him. I'm always happy to see young British fighters, talent, come really make it to the elite level of sports. And I'm really happy for that. But again, this fight against Anthony Joshua, can he win it? Do you know what I mean? He's going up against Joshua, who as well has to overcome his own demons, his own mental fragilities, and etc., etc. Do you know what I mean? Can Daniel Dubois really go and take it away from Joshua? A lot of people have Joshua as their favorite, but Daniel Dubois, like I just said, in the beginning, and I've been saying in these videos, that he's had to overcome a lot, and you can't take that away from him, and you can't overlook that. The fact that he's had to overcome, mental issues, and do you know what I mean? He's now more skilled in his boxing. Yeah, he's confident. He's got all the confidence in the world now. If Joshua got Dubois, let's say 3 years ago, yeah, Joshua for me will be the outright favorite, no doubt. Joshua's winning this, but the last two performances from Daniel Dubois just shows us that a lot can change in a few years. Do you know what I mean? After 2, 3 fights, Daniel Dubois all of a sudden is looking like the real deal again, and he's got experience. He knows how to overcome adversity now. Do you know what I mean? He's been through all that adversity. He knows how to overcome it now. He's had championship, do you know what I mean? Championship experience. He went in there against Alexander Usyk, who also fought Anthony Joshua. So Daniel Dubois now, yeah, although he hasn't won a world championship outright, he's been in championship fights. He's got that little bit of experience now. He's fought some experienced guys now. So he's going to go in there against Anthony Joshua on the 21st of September at Wembley, 90,000 crowd cheering him on, yeah? He's going to have a lot of confidence. And he's young. He's 26. Anthony Joshua is 34. Do you know what I mean? So Daniel Dubois has that youth. He's got a determination. He's going to take it to Joshua because that's the only way he's going to win it. He can't stand around, do what Francis Ngannou did against Anthony Joshua and expect to win, because eventually Joshua's going to find that right hand and he's going to knock him out. Daniel Dubois is going to be determined. He has to be ruthless in there. Double jab, like his trainer, Don Charles, has been mentioning in the media. He has to go out there and take it away from Anthony Joshua. And can he do it? Yes, he can. It's heavyweight boxing. It's heavyweight boxing. One punch can change it. Now, do I believe that Daniel Dubois has more punching power than Anthony Joshua? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Do I believe that Daniel Dubois has quicker, faster hands than Anthony Joshua? I don't think so either. Do you know what I mean? But what I do think is, watching them two fights, I feel like Daniel Dubois throws the more volume of punches. Do you know what I mean? Like, Joshua in the last couple of fights has been very smart. Do you know what I mean? He's not letting his hands go too much, but he's very smart in how he approaches the fight. Now, he's very calculative. Now, Daniel Dubois has to go in there and pressure Joshua. We all know Joshua, when he's under pressure, he can panic. He can throw the game plan out of the window. We've seen him against Ruiz. We've seen him in losses against Alexander Usyk. Do you know what I mean? So Joshua, the blueprint is there for Joshua how to beat him. It's just that Daniel Dubois now has to use all that experience, yeah, all that he's learned through adversity in the past. He has to bring it, and he has to want to take this fight and really grab it from the scruff of the neck and say, look, this is my time. I'm the new guy. I'm the new king in town, yeah? Anthony Joshua, you've had your time. Do you know what I mean? You've had your time. I'm taking this belt back. I'm keeping this belt. I'm the heavyweight champion of the world. And Daniel Dubois, he can do it, man. He can do it. I don't have him as favorite, but from his last two performances, Daniel Dubois can definitely do it. He's improved. He's with the right trainer in Don Charles, you know, who's a level-minded trainer, you know, who gets into the mental state of the fighter, which is so vital, yeah. And he's a great coach as well. So they're going to have a great game plan to overcome Anthony Joshua. And listen, Daniel Dubois got everything to win in this fight and really nothing to lose, in my opinion, because Anthony Joshua is the favorite. Anthony Joshua is the global superstar. Daniel Dubois is going in there as the underdog here. If he goes in there, wins it, listen, he's the next superstar because he's going to be taking it off Anthony Joshua. Do you know what I mean? Daniel Dubois goes in there, wins this fight. He's got all the opportunities in the world, yeah, in his hands. Do you know what I mean? Because Anthony Joshua, whether you like him or not, for me in the UK, Anthony Joshua is the face of the heavyweight boxing in the world. Do you know what I mean? Him and Anthony Fury, him and Tyson Fury. Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, you could say both of them, they're the face of the heavyweight division. Alexander Usyk is there, but he's kind of a low profile. But when it comes to commercials and global image and everything that goes with the sport of boxing, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, they're the face of it. So if Daniel Dubois goes in there, beats Anthony Joshua, he's a superstar. Do you know what I mean? He becomes a superstar globally, not just in the UK. We all know Daniel Dubois in the UK, but globally becomes a superstar. Do you know what I mean? Everywhere he will be known. Do you know what I mean? And he can command more money. Do you know what I mean? With Riyadh season and everything, he beats Anthony Joshua. Can you imagine what he can make in his next fight? Do you know what I mean? And he gets a lot of credibility beating someone like Anthony Joshua, who's an Olympic gold medal, two-time world heavyweight champion of the world. So Daniel Dubois has everything to win. He hasn't really got nothing to lose, because if he loses against Anthony Joshua, everyone's going to say, well, he's young, you know, he hasn't got much championship experience. You know, Anthony Joshua is the bigger fighter, bigger puncher, do you know what I mean? More experience, etc., etc. And Daniel Dubois is only 26 years of age. He's going to have another crack at the world heavyweight championship of the world, because Anthony Joshua is 34, Tyson Fury is 35 or 30, 36. Alexander Usyk is like 39, almost 40. So once these guys are out of the way, Daniel Dubois, he's in line. He's one of those fighters in the heavyweight division who are next to win that title. So, guys, that's my take on it. Daniel Dubois has to go out there and really take it, put Anthony Joshua under pressure and go get that belt, man. On my next video, I'm going to look into Anthony Joshua, how he can win this fight. We look at some of his mental fragilities and how he's overcome the negativity and where he is now and how he can win the fight against Daniel Dubois. So look out for that video. Definitely don't miss that. It should be coming out in the next few days. And guys, like I said in the beginning of the video, if you're new to this channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. That helps me out massively. You'll be doing me a massive favor. Thank you very much for watching this video. Until the next one, peace.